I'm going to share a heartfelt story with you. A story about a family in Japan. But don't let the location fool you. By the time you finish watching this video, you might just feel like it's the story of your own family. The movie is called Tokyo Family. Some stories are powerful enough to change the way we see life. I can't say for sure if this story will change your life, but I believe that after watching it, you'll find yourself pausing, even for just a moment, to reflect on your own life. So without further delay, let's dive into the core of the film. It's a beautiful day in Tokyo, Japan. The lady you see here is Fumiko, the eldest daughter-in-law of the family. She has 2 sons and is busy all morning, tidying up the house. When her elder son returns home from school, he notices that all his belongings have been moved into his younger brother's room. Fumiko gently tells him that his grandparents are coming from Hiroshima today, and for a few days, he'll have to share a room with his little brother. Just then, her sister-in-law Suchi arrives. She informs Fumiko that Ko had called. He has gone to the train station to pick up their parents. Ko is Suchi's younger brother, and Fumiko's husband Kenzo is the eldest of the 3 siblings. All 3 of them live in Tokyo for work, while their parents still live in the village. This is the first time their parents are coming to visit them in the city. Fumiko curiously asks Suchi when Ko becomes so responsible. Suchi laughs and admits that he doesn't. She has forced him to go pick them up. Suddenly, the phone rings. Suchi answers, and it's Ko. He sounds confused and says he can't find their parents at the station. Very quickly, Suchi realizes Ko rushes out in such a hurry that he ends up at the wrong station. Now, it's going to take a long time for him to reach the correct one. Worried, Suchi calls her mother to let her know what happens. The elderly man in this scene is named Shikuchi. We'll call him father. And the elderly woman is Tomiko. We'll call her mother. Mother Tomiko then gently informs Father Shikuchi about the delay, but he refuses to wait any longer. He says there's no point relying on others. They should just go on their own. Meanwhile, after hanging up the phone, Suchi sighs and says, "Dad hasn't changed one bit. Actually, their father was a school teacher. He was always disciplined, even when he was little. He never depended on anyone, always chose to take action himself, the way ideal fathers often do." By evening, after a long and tiring search, the elderly couple finally makes it to their eldest son's house. Everyone greets them with warmth and joy. It has been years since they last see their grandsons, and now they have grown up so much. The elderly mother brings traditional rice cakes she makes back in the village for everyone. She lovingly asks her eldest son how his clinic is doing, because Kenzo is a doctor. Suchi, on the other hand, runs a beauty parlor. Their youngest son Ko is more of a free spirit, someone who drifts from place to place. He works in small event management gigs here and there. During dinner, father turns to his youngest and asks, "Can you really survive in this city doing such odd jobs?" Ko tries to dodge the question, rambling on about this and that. Dinner soon ends. Ko begins to take his leave, and Suchi also says goodbye. It's time for her to return to her husband's house. The elderly parents, though tired, are overjoyed to finally be reunited with their children after so long. Seeing their children settled, each with their own life and place in such an expensive city, brings them pride. Mother Tomiko, full of joy, even calls her neighbors back in the village to share the happy moments. That's how parents are. Nothing makes them happier than the success of their children. The next morning, Suchi is having breakfast at home with her husband. Her husband casually asks, "How long are your parents planning to stay?" Suchi replies, "Just 4 or 5 days. Since today is Sunday and my brother has the day off, he's planning to take them around the city. Tonight, they'll be staying at our place." Her husband seems surprised. "Staying at our place? But our apartment is so tiny. We can barely fit in here ourselves. Where would they even sleep?" Suchi gently responds, "It's just for one night. If I don't let them stay even once, what would they tell people back in the village? That their own daughter didn't let them stay at her home? Let's just have them over tonight. It'll help avoid any awkward conversations later. Meanwhile, Kenzo's family is already dressed and ready. They plan to take father and mother out for a little tour around the city. Just then, the phone rings. It's a call from one of Kenzo's regular patients. He needs to go immediately. Kenzo says to his wife, "I have to leave right now. One of my regular patients just called. I need to visit him immediately." On the other hand, the elderly couple is completely ready to go out. Kenzo walks up to his parents and sincerely apologizes, saying he won't be able to take them out today. His parents smile and tell him not to worry. "It's okay. You go ahead with your work." Kenzo heads out the door. Before leaving, he tells his wife, "I might be back very late." His wife gently asks, "Then should I take your parents out instead?" Kenzo replies, "No need. Just let it be for today." After he leaves, father turns to Fumiko and asks, "If you all were out of the country or even out of town today, would Kenzo still have needed to go to the hospital?" Fumiko looks at her in-laws and softly says, "In that case, another doctor would have gone." That one simple question from the elderly parents and the quiet smile on their faces says more than words ever could. They silently swallow their disappointment. But the little boy in the family clearly feels upset. His grandmother notices his mood and gently takes him by the hand. She brings him to a nearby park and spends some quiet time with him there. Grandma gently asks her grandson, "Do you also want to become a doctor like your father when you grow up?" But the little boy answers bluntly, "No, I don't want to be like Dad. If I become like him, I won't have any time to spend at home." Hearing that, Grandma quietly sits in silence. That same afternoon, it starts to pour heavily outside. Suchi is working at the beauty parlor, while her parents have already arrived in the small upper room of her building. They're staying at their daughter's home tonight. When Suchi's husband returns from work, she kindly requests him to take her parents out somewhere the next day. Her husband, a banker, replies that he has loan collections to handle and will be extremely busy. Left with no other choice, Suchi calls her younger brother and requests him to take their parents out instead. The next morning, her younger brother Ko takes their parents on a city tour in an open-top bus. After exploring the city, the three of them sit down at a restaurant for lunch. The father turns to his youngest son and asks, "How long will you keep living like this? Have you given any thought to your future?" He adds, "Doing small gigs like this won't sustain you forever." Hearing this, Ko gets a bit irritated. As you already know, Ko is a bit of a free-spirited guy. Ever since childhood, he's had an independent streak. He doesn't really think much about the future. He just wants to live each day well. On the other hand, the elderly man, being a father, naturally worries about his son's future. Just then, Ko receives a call and steps aside to answer it. The father, lowering his voice, tells the mother, "Give him the best parts of my food. We never know what he eats in the city. That's just how fathers are. When we're young, we often feel hurt by our fathers. But it's these very fathers who, just to save for our future, stitch their own worn-out shoes over and over again." That night, Suchi has a quiet conversation with her older brother. She tells him, "It's been a few days now, but Mom and Dad still hasn't left. I heard Dad plans to visit the family of one of his deceased friends, but he hasn't said anything about it yet." She goes on to say, "New Year's is coming, and the parlor will be packed with customers. Plus, we're also hosting a party at home." Then she adds, "Maybe we can do something. Let's put Mom and Dad up at a nearby hotel for a few days. They can take care of their things from there and then leave." Together, the siblings decide to do just that. They take their elderly parents to a nearby hotel. The hotel is nice and comfortable, but these two people have lived their whole lives in a quiet village. Now all day long, they sit near the window, staring outside. Surrounded by tall buildings, the city looks like a different world through that hotel window. At night, they go to the hotel restaurant for dinner. The menu is filled with expensive dishes, yet somehow they can't find the familiar taste of a simple home-cooked meal shared with family. After dinner, They return to their room and sit quietly in front of the TV. They aren't really watching. They just sit there, trying to pass time. In this dazzling, colorful city, the night feels endless for these two aging souls. The next morning, the elderly mother starts feeling unwell from staying in a confined hotel space. So the father decides to take her back to their daughter's apartment. But Suchi doesn't look happy to see them. She begins scolding her parents, saying, "Do you even know how much money we spent on that hotel? Why did you leave and come here like this? Tomorrow is the New Year's Eve party at my place. There'll be all kinds of people here, drinking, dancing, having fun. If you two are around, it'll make the guests feel really uncomfortable." Her older brother Kenzo has gone to visit his in-laws with his own family, so she adds, "Please find someplace else to stay tonight." With that, she walks away, leaving her aging parents stunned. They've just arrived in this massive city for the first time in their lives, and now they have nowhere to go. Trying to keep his wife calm, the elderly man offers her a warm smile. He says, "Don't worry. I have an old friend whose son works a big job in this city. He's invited me many times to visit. I'll go to his place tonight. And you go to Keo's." The mother quietly agrees. "Yes, Keo has asked me to come many times. His room may be small, but we're mother and son. We'll manage for the night." The two elderly parents quietly pack their belongings into separate bags. In this vast city, they don't even have a place where they can stay together. As they step out of the apartment, the father gently says, "Let's just bear through one more night. Tomorrow morning, we'll head back to the village. This city, it's not meant for us." With a heavy heart, the mother asks, "Did we fail to raise our children right? You're still carrying the debt you took just to educate them." The father, in a calm and steady voice, replies, "That was our duty as parents." The two old souls slowly rise and walk away, each toward a different corner of the city. The elderly father visits a different friend's house, someone who belonged to the family of another late friend. Meanwhile, when Keo hears that his mom is coming to stay with him, his heart lights up with joy. Unlike his older siblings, he has always stayed emotionally connected. It's been so long since he's had a meal cooked by her loving hands. Keo quickly calls his girlfriend, Nariko, to share the news. His mom is coming. Later that evening, his mother lovingly cooks dinner for her youngest son. Keo savors each bite, clearly overwhelmed by the familiar warmth of her cooking. She had assumed that her son would be careless and messy, that his place would be in total disarray. But to her surprise, it's neat and tidy, even though the room is small. The real credit, of course, goes to Nariko. As mother and son chat together, he eventually brings up Nariko, and before he realizes it, she arrives. Keo introduces his girlfriend to his mother. Nariko's mother passed away long ago, and her father still lives in the village. Feeling shy, Keo quietly steps out, leaving the two women to talk. His mother thanks Nariko, telling her that it's because of her that her son has become so organized. It becomes clear that she really likes her future daughter-in-law, and from the way Nariko looks at her, the feeling is mutual. After a while, Nariko heads out, and Keo turns to his mother, saying, "Can you please talk to Dad about me and Nariko?" His mother gently replies, "If you tell him yourself, it will make him truly happy. And once you do, I'll explain everything to him in detail." Meanwhile, Father Shikuchi visits a bar with his friend. At first, he's hesitant to drink, but his friend insists. Eventually, the two of them end up having several drinks together. And as the alcohol takes hold, the feelings they've long kept buried begin to pour out. The friend opens up, saying, "My son may have a high-paying job, but I've failed to raise him as a person. He doesn't take a single step without his wife's approval. I no longer hold any value in his life, not even as his father. I can't even bring you to my house tonight, because if I do, my daughter-in-law will be furious." Then he sighs and adds, "You're a lucky man. At least your son became a doctor." Not like mine. Father Shikuchi responds with deep regret. You and I, we're like two sides of a mountain. I thought once my son became a doctor, he'd return to the village and serve the people there. But he never came back. In fact, my other two children followed him here. No one wants to live in the village anymore. Everyone wants to come to the city for a better life. The night grows colder, and with no place to go, the old man eventually falls asleep right there at the bar table. That night, he has nowhere else to be. Early the next morning, the elderly father arrives at his elder son, Kenzo's house. Kenzo and his family have just returned home. It's clear from the father's face that he drank heavily the night before. Meanwhile, Mother Tomiko returns from Keio's apartment. She tells her husband, "Don't worry about Keio. He's on the right path. I'm truly proud of our youngest son." She then thanks her elder daughter-in-law for all her help over the past few days. Today, they're finally heading back to the village. But just as they prepare to leave, the mother Tomiko suddenly collapses. The father rushes to catch her as she falls, and they take her to the hospital immediately. It turns out she's been unwell for quite some time, but no one noticed. The emotional stress from the last few days has taken its toll. The doctors say she's had a heart attack. Kenzo steps outside the ICU and tells his father and sister, Mom might not have much time left, maybe just a few more hours. Upon hearing this, Tsuchi breaks down in tears, sobbing uncontrollably. Yet when her mother was alive, she never made space for her in her home. Kenzo silently stares at his mother's face, thinking about how she sacrificed so much to make him a doctor. And still, he never noticed her illness. Keio is called to the hospital, and Noriko waits there. She can't gather the courage to go up. Unsure of what to say, how to introduce herself, Keio gently takes her hand and brings her upstairs. Inside the cabin, everyone stands in silence. Keio walks up to his mother and softly asks, Mom, how are you feeling? But she doesn't respond. He looks at his brother, who quietly tells him, she's gone. Keio breaks down, crying loudly. He begs, Mom, please, open your eyes. Noriko has come. You were supposed to meet her today with Dad. You can't leave like this. His cries fill the air with unbearable grief. He rushes outside, and Noriko hugs him tightly, sobbing with him. Meanwhile, the rest of the family begins discussing the funeral arrangements. Should we do it here or take her to the village? Someone asks. Kenzo replies, let's do it here. Taking her to the village will cost too much. Tsuchi agrees, saying, we'll even need to rent a black coat for Dad. Their mother has just passed away, and they're already counting expenses. The elderly father walks up to the hospital rooftop and gazes at the crimson sky. The woman he spent 50 years with, the one he was supposed to return home with, is now gone forever. He still can't believe it. Keio walks up beside him. Father and son both look toward the burning sky. The father softly says, let's go home. But he doesn't move. Keio keeps looking at the sky, crying quietly, his tears falling for the mother he couldn't hold on to. The scene shifts. Everyone is almost near the village now. Across the river lies their childhood home. The ferry finally docks at the pier. One by one, they step off. The villagers are already there, waiting quietly. These people, unlike the city folks, aren't mechanical. Their emotions are real. Many of them are already in tears. The next day, the funeral is held. Everyone is present. After the ceremony, they all gather to eat together in the house where they once grew up. As they share a meal, they reminisce. Laughter mixes with the memories. Those innocent days of childhood echo through the room. But amidst the joy, two remain silent, the helpless father and his youngest son, Keio. Suddenly, Tsuchi breaks the silence. Dad, where are Mom's gold ornaments? I'm taking them with me when I go back to Tokyo. Keio can no longer hold back. His voice trembles. It hasn't even been 2 days since Mom passed, and you're already talking about dividing her things? Tsuchi doesn't stay quiet either. I have a right to them too. Their father gently interrupts, calming the rising storm between siblings. That's when Kinzo looks at his father and asks, "Now that mom is gone, have you thought about what you'll do? How will you live here, all by yourself? Come with me, Dad. Come to Tokyo. Stay with us." The old man replies slowly, with a voice soaked in quiet pain, "No, son. I'm not going back to that city. I'll never live with you or your siblings. Don't worry about me. These villagers, they're like family to me. They'll take care of me." His words fall like a weight in the room. Everyone goes silent. Outside, the weather begins to shift. Clouds gather, the wind picks up. Kinzo and Tsuchi begin to hurry. They have to return to Tokyo today. Not even a single day could be spared for their grieving father. Everyone leaves, except Ko and his girlfriend. A week passes, and now, even Ko must return. Their ferry is scheduled at 1 p.m. Naruki, who has taken care of all the cooking and household chores these past days, prepares one last meal for the elderly father. She gently lays the dishes on the table and softly says, "We're leaving today on the 1 o'clock ferry. Please keep us in your prayers." As she's about to leave, Father Shikuchi calls out to her, his eyes filled with gratitude. He says, "I'm truly thankful to you. You've worked so hard and cared for me as if I were your own. I have nothing worthy to give you in return." He reaches into a bag and brings out an old wristwatch. This belonged to Ko's mother. "I bought it for her 30 years ago. She loved it dearly. Please, this is all I have to give you. I know it's old. If you don't wear it, just keep it in a drawer as a memory. I couldn't give you any gold, but I have one request. Please take good care of my son. Never let go of his hand." Hearing this, Naruki breaks into tears. In just a few days, she's done more for the old man than even his own children. The scene changes again. The 1 o'clock ferry has already departed. Ko and Naruki stand on the deck, silently watching their father's village slowly disappear in the distance. Back at home, Father Shikuchi gazes out through the open window, watching, hoping, until the ferry vanishes beyond the horizon. And that is where the beautiful movie ends. We may never know how the rest of that old man's life unfolded, but his story feels all too familiar, doesn't it? It's the silent tale of so many around us, maybe even our own. In this fast-paced world, we're all running, chasing success, chasing dreams, forgetting where we came from, and not knowing when to stop. Sometimes, we don't realize we've lost someone until it's too late. This story is a reminder. Give people their worth while they're still breathing, still smiling, still reaching out. No amount of tears can bring someone back once they're gone. And maybe, just maybe, our stories are quietly heading toward the same ending. So pause, breathe, and tell someone today that they matter. If this story touched you, let me know in the comments. And if your heart whispered yes while listening, don't forget to like the video. Until next time, stay kind and take care.